I'm Martin Anderson, 6 minutes after 11 o'clock, and we're here in the Air Studio, the Charles Benedict Memorial Air Studio here in Spindale at Isothermal Community College, where one Margo Cilker has joined us all the way from Oregon. Good morning, Margo. Thank you.
Good morning, Martin. Hi.
Hi. You didn't come all the way from Oregon. You came from Charlotte.
That's right.
How was the evening news last night?
You know, it was a really fun night. I hadn't been back there since 2016, I think, and that was when I was doing like the open mic night. You know, some funny show there. Yeah, it was great. Great to go back, and a couple people showed up who had heard about me through the Oxford American article that came out last year, and I thought that was really cool. That there, print press is like working
still
in
works.
the wild. That was really a cool happenstance.
At least with a few like legendary ones like Oxford American.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. I felt very, very honored.
All right. Well, I'm not familiar with that, but we didn't get to know you until, what was it, 2 years ago, 2021, your first album. So It's interesting to think that you were in our neck of the woods way back in 2016 playing.
Oh, yeah. I've spent a lot of time singing on street corners in this part of the world.
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations on the last two albums, including this brand new one, Valley of Heart's Delight. It's on Fluff and Gravy Records. They do good stuff.
Yeah.
Was your first one on there, Pohovia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yep.
All right. And so you've been doing a bunch of touring around. I saw you at the Americana Fest in Nashville a year ago, and you're headed back there this weekend after tonight's show at the Grey Eagle.
That's right. Yeah, we're going via Chattanooga. That's Saturday, and then we're heading into Nashville on Sunday, and that'll be the last official show of this leg of tour.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then you head home?
And then we head, we head back west.
Yeah. You live where now?
I live in Goldendale, Washington. So it's about 15 miles from the Oregon-Washington border. It's on the Columbia River. It's what they call the Mid-Columbia Gorge. So the Dalles, Oregon, you might be familiar with the Dalles from the Oregon Trail game. That's kind of people's reference point,
Put it on the map. Yeah.
Or people know it as the place they had to drive through to get elsewhere.
So that Oregon Trail game, how do they feel about being known for that? The place is associated with, you got dysentery or something?
Dysentery, yeah. It's kind of a running joke. It's pretty cool though. It's there's places you can actually see the wagon ruts still through the sagebrush from the actual Oregon Trail. Yeah.
That just amazes me that's phenomenon is still there out there.
Yeah.
But your family goes way back. Some of your family, maybe your dad's side, goes way back to the Santa Clara Valley in California.
Yeah.
Now known as Silicon Valley.
Exactly. Yeah.
As they transitioned from those wonderful fruit trees and agricultural land with a great rich soil to Silicon Valley buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the theme, I guess, of the new one, Valley of Heart's Delight.
Yeah. It was kind of just this point or this idea that I kept returning to, and that's why I named my album that. And it's not like this isn't you're not going to turn this album on and get like a history of the Santa Clara Valley or anything, but it was just kind of like I felt very moved by the idea of like this history that I learned about, and it was one of those like points of inspiration that just got louder, and sometimes that happens, and it's not always. Some inspirations are kind of fleeting, but this one I kept sitting with it, the idea of the Valley of Heart's Delight, and just that whole idea. And it was just like an agricultural marketing thing. They wanted to lure people to come out and work there and come visit the blossoms back in the early 20th century. And mid 20th century. But yeah, I was just trying to understand a time that happened before I was part of it, but a time that my family and my ancestors like lived through. So
right.
Yeah.
Fascinating. It's Margo Cilker here on WNCW. She's got her guitar. I bet you've got a few songs in mind. Let's hear something.
All right. This one is called Sound and Fury. where you're going, ask what I'm doing, wonder how it's moving along. It's a piece of a puzzle, it's a midnight struggle. I'm going, I'm gone. Steve's in Manhattan, Will's down in Houston. Sometimes the tables don't turn. The start of your suffering is the end of your wondering. I'm smoking, I've burned. So tell me where you're going, ask what I'm doing, wonder how it's moving along. It's a piece of a puzzle, it's a melody muddled. I'm going, I'm gone. Comes down the cell while rolls into the locksaw to make its Pacific return. The state of your mind, it shouldn't keep you from kindness. I'm teaching, I've learned. So tell me where you're going, ask what I'm doing, wonder how it's coming along. It's a sound and a fury, it signifies nothing. I'm going, I'm gone. Banjo for strumming, black American woman, the gatekeeper's footing disturbed. It's a song down the ages, it's a tearing of pages. I'm listening, now I've heard. So tell me where you're going, ask what I'm doing. You could wonder why it took me this long. It's a shirt we've been offered from the backs of our mothers. I'm going, I'm gone. Ooh, It's the wreck at Los Gatos, my home in Los Altos, the apricot's yearly return. It's the saints at the river, it's a Trinity swimmer. Oh glory, my Lord.
That's Margo Cilker on WNCW, a live version of Sound and Fury here in the Air Studio. One that made it on the album of Valley of Heart's Delight. Maybe one of the ones that kind of made you realize, hey, there's kind of a theme going on here of this region, the family.
Yeah.
I get the impression that like you had some songs. Maybe did you have a lot more than these 11 songs, and then you realized there was kind of a theme and fashioned the album then?
Yeah, I did. I kind of wrote these songs, and I did have a larger batch of songs, and then we kind of winnowed it down, whittled it down. I mean,
Yeah.
And I was writing some songs that didn't, like some of the songs I was working on morphed into songs that you find on the album. Like the song Beggar for Your Love was originally inspired by like this like in 2020 there were like the wildfires that happened, and California was hit pretty hard, and just like it was a song about like wildfire, and somehow it morphed into what it is. But yeah, in the batch there, I did start to kind of see a pattern, and I was listening to a lot of albums in my early years of songwriting and stuff, and I always appreciated the form of like an album, not just aspiring towards like singles and everything. So I guess, yeah, and it's fun for me to kind of think of an album as a whole and see how songs will work together. And my producer Sarah is also she's very meticulous about creating the whole.
Right,
Yeah.
the album concept in a way, or
Yeah.
how they all form together. Yeah, Sarah Cahoon, she's the producer. She did your earlier album, and
Yeah.
we've heard of her a little bit here. We got some of her material
Yeah.
here with her producer or her own stuff, but she's also produced Band of Horses?
Oh,
I
she
think some other
played
stuff.
drums with Band of Horses.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, cool.
Yeah, she's had an amazing career. And part of what's so cool is that she's just kind of trucked along in the Northwest. And, you know, the Northwest is not it's not Nashville, it's not LA, it's not New York, you know? But she's kind of she's always had a little bit of like an appreciation for country and folk traditions. I mean, Sarah in her live set, she plays like Buck Owens and Hank Williams songs with her like indie band, you know, and they've all got their like stereotypical like Northwest beanies on, and they're just playing Hank Williams, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's like beanie country. That's kind of like if you have to describe it to people that are like, what's this band's deal? It's like, it's beanie country. I don't know.
All right. I've never heard that term, but I have a feeling I'll be using it in the future.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, we're just, so I don't know. So I was really drawn to her palette of influences and stuff too. And that's kind of how I could just hear it in her work. And so, you know, I latched onto her, and I think we've made really awesome music together. And she plays in my live band whenever she feels like it, and whenever she doesn't feel like getting in a van with a bunch of kids, she stays home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the road life for you all, for touring musicians, getting in a van with your big band, or sometimes just you driving miles and miles and miles, you know, just you.
Yeah, that's
the radio and your music collection, and that's it. But
totally.
you got a big band. When I saw you a year ago, it was a great, nice sounding band, including your younger sister.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
literally a kid, right? I mean, she's
Sister Sarah.
How old is she?
Yeah, well now she's I think she's 27.
My bad.
Yeah,
right. She was
25
or so. But
yeah,
I could tell she was your younger sister in all ways, and you harmonized so sweetly, and it was a great band. Is it a full band tonight then at the Gray Eagle?
Tonight we're a trio.
A trio.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we have upright bass, and I've got my electric guitar and my acoustic guitar, and then I have my electric lead player, Jeremy Ferrara, and he's wonderful. Yeah, so it'll be a nice full sound. And Humbird opens the show.
Okay. Humbird opening.
Are you familiar with Humbird?
Just by name, but not really.
Okay, well, you should be excited to explore their project. It's out of Minneapolis.
Okay.
So Twin Cities, it's like North Country folk. And they're amazing. And it's been really awesome to tour with them because they're just such good people. And they're real, they've been on the scene for years and years. And they're real road dog musicians, the kinds that have played all of the kinds of venues,
Right.
There's it's kind of an us and them of people who by happenstance ended up on a bus, their first tour ever, or something. And then there's those of us who have the road stripes.
Do those former people really exist? They just somehow
I think
get
they
a big
do.
touring
They
bus?
do. And Godspeed to them.
Uh-huh. No hard feelings, no jealousy, no envy.
Oh no.
No bitterness. No.
I wouldn't trade, I've had some, it's been a wild ride, to say the least. But I've learned so much just by traveling around and staying with people and depending on, the kindness of other people to keep the thing moving along. And I think it's helped my art to be in that vulnerable place where you need other people and you need community.
Yeah. Well said.
I don't know.
I think so. And I don't know, just from where I sit, I think your career is really kind of starting to galvanize and take root and grow a lot. We're talking with Margo Cilker here on WNCW. Let's hear another song.
Okay, Martin, pass me my my CD case there, and I'll pick a song from the list.
There you go. With all of our notes on it as well.
Yeah, love it. Okay, this is a song about coffee and wine. I get up 8 a.m., press the coffee down again. I still leave half just in case. I pour it out the next day. Kitchen table, my own home. Sometimes a woman's dream is to be alone. Night falls, I'm grateful day when my heart says I won't do it this time. You can ask my mom. I've been doing great at the beginning and the end of the day, but I hit a wall when the caffeine falls. Now I'm staring at a Cabernet. Something in there would kill my brain, and I know it's wrong. At least I wait till nightfall. It's a long haul. What do I do with the middle? Where does my love have to go? I've been reaching out, I've been holding on, but I can't anymore. Tell me, what do I do with the middle? Between the coffee and the wine, the part of the day when my heart says I won't do it this time.
That's Margo Cilker on WNCW, a song called With the Middle from the new one, Valley of Heart's Delight. It's her second album. It's out on Fluff and Gravy Records. And, well, if there are some songs that didn't quite make it on this album that you'd already written, maybe that means another one is already in the works. Maybe a theme already, or no? Any plans yet?
Oof. It'll be I'm I think I've been moving too quickly to really scheme about that. And also there's so many dark things happening in the world. There always have been, but I feel that there's a lot of like doom and gloom. So I know I'll have to put some of that into song as I move forward, you know? I don't think I have a synth pop album in me.
No.
Not yet.
When you say you feel you'll need to put some of that kind of the current events or the doom and gloom, like you need to express it, or you feel like outside pressure or an expectation that you should be including it?
No, it's not about outside pressure. It's just in kind of what I have been thinking of. I don't know. I don't know. As I consider like a next step, well, albums are also really like taxing and expensive, and just like to approach a project like so many years out and plan everything, like that's not actually that conducive to my creative process. I love to be like the spontaneity, spontaneous choices, and being freewheeling and like doing things for the sake of what you feel like doing in the moment. That's what drives my creativity. And then as a working artist, you have this like structure that to optimize your release thing, you know, like there's pressures to kind of fit your art into this scheduling. And that's part of it. And I love doing this so that I can keep creating, you know? Mm-hmm. But there's some catch up there, and I'll really need to savor the time off the road to be contemplate,
right,
and find my stride again as a writer. But I do feel like I was mentioning, I have been writing a few songs, and they have all been extremely dark. So that's okay. That's kind of what I was getting at. There's so we'll see what happens. I don't know. You know, I don't know what the what the next chapter will look like.
Okay, yeah. Well, you've expressed that you really value albums and the concept of them, and this one has sort of that for sure. It does, but there are a lot of artists that maybe are moving away from albums, maybe shifting more towards EPs, but singles. And that's kind of the aforementioned market driven.
Oh, yeah.
Like okay, well, you just got to put out singles, and maybe albums aren't as necessary, but maybe for you they still are because that's part of your creative influence.
I mean, I think like there will always be a part of me as an artist that is like trying to create my car wheels on a gravel road, and I'm 30, so I've got 10 more years to to figure that one out. No, and there's no time limit at all, but that is what, like, there's something so special about the form of the album. And it's funny, the streaming beast, I got an email from one of the streaming giants, one of the titans of streaming. And it was some email, like obviously like a mass produced email, right? And it was saying like, congratulations on this milestone. You have X number of followers or whatever, some metric that they, that they track. And they said, like, your fans are waiting. What are you waiting for? As in, like, they're like, your brand new album that you just put out.
Uh-huh.
And then they go, what are you waiting for? And I'm like,
right.
What am I waiting for?
Someone who's not quite following the clear on the concept.
It's just like that kind of disconnect of like, and that's kind of, to me, it was like a beautiful metaphor for the way like the computer age and like AI are just there's just this disconnect. And here is just it was just a beautiful example of the disconnect between like computer and man. And I try not to take my art too seriously, and especially like I try to not have it be so insular, because art and music, I mean, even the way, you and I might say, I listen to all kinds of music, but even that in itself is a myopic, like recorded music is a myopic, that's one tiny part of the way humans interact with music around the world. On a global level, like people singing as they work on the other side of the world, like that is art and that is expression, and I try to like keep a perspective of what I'm doing. This isn't the end all, I love it. And this is like, ever since I could read liner notes, I was like, this is so cool. And, I've been pursuing this for so long because it's just the most like, it's just like the brightest thing in my life. And I adore it. And I also acknowledge like, this is a drop in the bucket, you know? And, I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at is like, I'm trying to protect like humanness and humanity and like expression. I think they're so important, and it feels good to be a part of defending that, against the robots that are trying to take over.
Right. Yeah. Let's not let them
is
take
that
over.
dark?
No, that's just
Here
reality.
we are. What time is it? I don't know. It's like, it's 11:30 a.m. and
it's not too early for this kind of
it's a little
deep...
doom. Yeah.
No, it's not too early for it.
A little bit doomsday, but I don't know. And that probably ties back to Valley of Heart's Delight too, and just like growing up around big tech and kind of the repercussions of that, and just feeling a little bit like a little bit out of place.
Right.
I had no aspirations to become a programmer or a software engineer. I just like wanted to like learn how to work.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
So.
Take care of the basics.
Cover the basics, exactly.
Well, we've aired an interview or two recently with some musicians like Brennan Lee and others that we really revere. And Brennan Lee in particular was talking about like there's something to be gained by like as soon as you release your album, you are already working on your next one. You're recording it, you're getting the ideas, you're getting it done so that as you're on tour for the album that's just been released, you're also recording the next one that's going to come out, and boom, and of course inspired by the manager or producer. But she seemed on board with it, and it kind of was like, if those creative juices are flowing, then yeah, go for it. But you remind us that all artists work at different paces and have different rhythms. And if you need to take a break from making an album, then, then that is obviously okay. And you're all about working at a human pace. And maybe, what Brennan was talking about is also a human pace too, but it can vary a lot.
And I love Brennan Lee, and she's one of my, I really look up to her, and I think she's just the coolest. And she also has been working so hard for a long time, and maybe now she's ready to just crank out albums,
Yeah.
But yeah, just different for everyone. I know.
Or she read that form email that said, "What are you waiting for?" And she said, "Nothing." Okay, here's an amazing Western swing album, and then I'll follow it with.
I know, and her new albums. I mean, they're all incredible, and if she's got gas in the tank, good for her.
Yeah.
But as for me, I need to bunker down in a small town somewhere,
and that is what will create the scene for the next wonderful release, whether it's an album, an EP, or whatever from you.
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, while you are here on the tour for this fresh, new, current album, Valley of Heart's Delight, why don't we hear one more song before you head on up the road?
Perfect.
Is that cool?
Yeah. I'm going to sing a song about Santa Rosa, New Mexico. Little Santa Rosa, I got Christmas chili. There's something about the waitress, I felt like she knew me. We're seated around a table, napkins all unfolding, and I'd been eating coffee since we packed up this morning. I looked behind the counter, saw 3 crosses above the pies. It all felt as familiar as the town of Enterprise. Someone bought a postcard, someone bummed a smoke, someone lit that cigarette, and then I bummed a toke. I've been wandering, I've kept moving, but I have never been afraid to take your hand. And I love you, but you don't need it. Honey, you're grounded, your feet know where to stand. So if you pass through Santa Rosa, down in New Mexico, make your stop for breakfast at the old Comet Dose.
Santa Rosa, about Santa Rosa, New Mexico, from Margo Cilker here at WNCW, wrapping up a little interview. So much more to talk about, but I'll let you head on up to Asheville. But am I right that Little Feat is a pretty big influence for you? Or did that just sort of happen to show up in 2 or 3 songs?
Yeah, no, I love Little Feat, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not the same without Lil George. Mm-hmm. But I do have aspirations to start a country band called Lol George.
Yeah.
LOL George. So these are, that might be, that's one of my things I probably need to get out of my system before working on my next record. It's just getting my chops, and practicing and having fun and celebrating awesome artists. Yeah.
Maybe that could be your Beanie Country act. It's Lowell George.
One of them, yeah.
One of them.
Exactly.
Cool.
But yeah, I do. I love Little Feat, and yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
look forward to the next time you can come back around. And a lot of folks can look forward to seeing you tonight at the Gray Eagle in Asheville
Yep.
with Humbird opening. And then you're playing in Chattanooga on Saturday. And then the 3rd in Lindsley in Nashville, Tennessee on Sunday. And then that's it for the East Coast anyway. Then you head back home to just a couple of West Coast gigs here and there. And,
Yep.
and hanging out with the dogs and horses back at home.
That's right.
All right.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for coming in. Thanks for the great music, Margo, and wonderful conversation.
Thank you, Martin. It is my pleasure.
It's Margo Cilker on WNCW. And you know what? Why don't we play a tune from the album? We talked about Sarah Cahoon, the wonderful producer, and Lowland Trail. Should I play that one?
Perfect.
Okay, great.